And we're live.
I'll take a leak first, actually. It's just gonna bother me, like, I'm doing a podcast.
No worries. Oh, wait. Okay, now we're live. Hello. Is this recording? Yeah, that came up. Wait, if I put that there. Okay. It's just not that loud in the track. Alright. Hello, and welcome to the next episode of Flooded Cinema. I'm joined today by QAnon, very special guest, who's live in the Flooded Cinema with me, live in the studio. Say hello.
Hello, everyone.
And today we're discussing, what is it? Oh, the Teddy Bear.
Teddy Bear and Only God Forgives.
Only God Forgives. Two pieces of excellent kino, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really good double feature, I thought. Because there was more to it than just the setting of Southeast Asia and Thailand in particular.
Yeah, I think both movies had some, like, reactionary elements. Subtly or unsubtly. Well, somewhat implicit in both, but yeah.
Only God Forgives was pretty reactionary.
Yeah, I guess so.
I would say.
Yeah, well, it's just like this beast punishing degenerates. So,
yeah.
Like white degenerates and, you know.
Yeah. Also, they both had a Oedipal complex.
Yeah.
Like
They both had like a dark, sort of suffocating matriarch kind of figure.
Yeah.
You know, the life of the longhouse kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
At least more so in Teddy Bear.
Yeah. Well, that's true, because it is the Scandinavian setting. Well, anyway, let's begin with Teddy Bear, I reckon. And get into Teddy Bear.
Yeah, sounds good.
So, I'll give the basic plot description. So, Teddy Bear is about a 40-something, probably late 40s.
I think the character was 38, actually. I read that in the plot description.
He looks a bit older than that.
I don't know. Well, the actor might be older.
Yeah, but anyway, it's about a middle-aged bodybuilder, a Danish bodybuilder, who has basically had no luck in his love life, and then his cousin or whatever it is gets a Thai wife, so then he sort of decides to himself, maybe I'll go to Thailand and find a woman, because he's had no luck with white women, basically.
Yeah. A tale many of us on the right can relate to, on the bleach right.
So what did you think of Teddy Bear?
Well, I thought it was a very good movie. And I think it had some subtle reactionary elements, because the main guy, he's a pretty sensitive soul. Like he's not depicted as religious, but he could very easily be like a trad groper or something on Twitter. Like he's not interested in like loose women. Really, no. He just wants like his cute waifu.
Yeah. Well, I love the opening of the movie is him on a date with just sort of this average like white blonde woman, and it's just really awkward and not going well. And then like a scene or two later, he sees her again at the gym, and what does he say to her?
I think he rejects her or something.
Yeah, he basically, because I think it's more like out of anticipation of the fact that she is going to reject him.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
But then he says, you're not my type anyway.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. This blogger I like, Artiste, from Chateau Artiste, he says, if you feel the rejection for a second date coming, the best thing you can do is just reject the woman, because then you're doing some community service, like damaging her ego a little bit.
That's a good point,
you're helping out the next guy, and you're saving yourself, like, some possible rejection.
That's true.
So, food for thought.
That's good.
I know he's well liked on Frog Twitter from back in the day.
So yeah, the movie it's very simple and straightforward. There's no fancy cinematography or any like action or anything like that. It's really just like a romance with some dramatic elements. So we have to talk about the mother, I guess. So he lives with his mother still in this tiny room, and it's like a single bed he has as well.
Yeah.
Which is quite comical.
He has a comically undersized bed.
Yeah.
I thought that was a nice touch.
Because he's clearly roided up, like he's massive.
Yeah, he's got tats all over as well.
Yeah.
It's curious, they never show him doing roids. I guess, yeah.
I think it was like
strongly implied, obviously, because it's not achievable natty.
What do you?
Just would have been funny, I think, if they had like a few shots of him like on
just casually
on cycle or
something. You just want it to become more normalized, basically. No comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so when he goes to the wedding of his cousin to this Thai bride, he can tell that his mother is very disapproving of this pairing. So when he decides to go to Thailand himself, he lies and says he's going to a bodybuilding competition in
Germany, I think. Yeah.
Is it Dusseldorf?
Can't remember exactly.
I'm misremembering.
Yeah, but he lies to his mother about his date with the white girl too.
Oh yeah.
Like, so he's trying to. It's like his mother is kind of like this suffocating influence on his life, or whatever.
Yeah.
You could, yeah.
And there's a interesting. It's interesting. I think it's very deliberate that they picked quite a small actress because most.
They make her comically undersized.
Because most Northern European women aren't as short as she is, and she's like half his, like a quarter of his size or something. Basically, she's this very tiny woman, and it's this tiny woman controlling this massive guy just through like toxic, manipulation and stuff like that. It's quite interesting. Only has the black friend at the gym.
Oh yeah,
it's
pretty base.
If you can see what my note is here, what I've written down.
Nigger.
Oh, whoa!
I said it, not flooded basement.
All right, well, what else have I written here? Oh yeah, I just wrote. Yeah, I like the cinematography because I think it was all handheld mostly.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they had a nice little montage of him in Thailand. They had some cool indie song playing. He's riding around on scooters, very aesthetic.
It almost is like a Southeast Asian Lost in Translation in some ways. Like
I can see that,
the scenes of this like middle-aged white guy like in an Asian country vibing.
Yeah, I think it's very good. They show that he can't be played a few times too. Like he kind of kicks the prostitute out of his. His hotel room.
Well, I think
he won't let this Indian suit guy rip him off.
Oh yeah.
An extra jacket as well.
Yeah, I think I really like. It's interesting that they very deliberately juxtapose him with the other typical men that go to Southeast Asia,
and they're quite grotesque.
Yeah, they're deliberately shown as like fat and
disgusting.
Yeah,
and they've got their dirty hands all over some
Thai
chick. Yeah, and he's he has a distaste for that, a sort of aristocratic disdain almost.
Well, he has the opportunity to bed with a prostitute, but he rejects her.
He turns it down.
Yeah, he just tells her to leave because he's genuinely searching for love, and I think that's the point of that whole thing, that he is sincerely lonely and he's sincerely looking for an actual mate, which is
that's one of the reasons I think we both say it's like an example of at least subtly reactionary cinema, because for starters he's a bodybuilder, so physical strength, aesthetics, etc. All these things are inherently right-wing, like health, vitality. Yeah. And he stands in contrast to the grotesque expats in Thailand, or tourists or whatever.
Yeah.
He's kind of trying to fight his way out of that miasma of modern dating.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it's almost... Because all of the white women in it, like, because there's only two, I guess, the mum and the other woman... They are shown as they're shown as harpies, basically. Yeah. So that's interesting. And then then he goes to, it's interesting as well, because he goes to Thailand, and he goes to the bars and whatnot, and he's uncomfortable in those places. But then he goes to a gym near his hotel, and he's immediately comfortable, immediately makes friends.
Yeah.
And then it's the receptionist of the gym that he falls in love with,
basically. Yeah, I think she's the owner of the gym, in fact. I think her husband was the previous owner, and he died. Yeah.
And, so yeah, he goes out, he instantly makes friends with all these Thai guys, like impresses them with how much he can live.
Yeah.
And then, they all go out for dinner together and hang out. And that's I like that scene as well, when they're at dinner.
Yeah, they have quite a funny scene of him asking for more plates as well.
Yeah.
Benching. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I remember that. And then, we can circle back to it, but then after that he's meeting the woman, and he goes on a date with her, which is very cute.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they're just sort of
hanging out. I think her name's
out.
Toy or something.
It doesn't really matter.
Double check that.
And she's a very gentle, nice woman, and at the end of the date, he goes in for the kiss. but she rejects him. But then it turns out that that's just because that's Southeast Asian culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to do it in public. Like,
yeah.
And then face or whatever.
Yeah. And then she invites him around for dinner. And then even then again, she offers to sleep with him. And does he says no again, doesn't he? Or do they, I can't remember.
I think so.
Because he wants to wait until
that's
they're
right.
married,
He just kind of storms off a bit. Well, not storms off, but he leaves after she makes a move on him, I think.
Yeah, so he basically waits until, well, at the very least, it's a serious relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And then pretty much after that, he asks to marry her and brings her back to Denmark.
Yeah.
The one thing is, I don't know why he would want to live in Denmark.
Yeah.
Like, why not just live in Thailand?
You should just do that as well.
Yeah.
Because... Yeah, when he takes her back to Thailand, she expresses disappointment that he has an apartment, not a house, or
in
something
Denmark,
like that.
Because he could get away.
Yeah, his income would go such a long way in Thailand.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a subtle thing. Mm. But the one thing I wanted to mention was that scene with the mother when he's leaving to go to the competition early in the morning. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And then she just stays in bed. She doesn't get out and say goodbye. So you get this. You can see how unloving that relationship is, basically.
Yeah.
It's pretty brutal.
Yeah, he's basically just got this old, witch kind of controlling him and stifling him.
Mm. Yeah, and that's almost pretty much it about that movie. Like, I think that's one of the strengths, honestly, of it, is that it is so simple.
Yeah, it is quite simple. It's it's a nice love story. It's good.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's a short movie.
Yeah,
as well.
about 90 minutes.
Yeah. Which I quite liked. There's no fluff. There's no, I don't know, unnecessary scenes or anything like that. And that's one thing I hate about a lot of movies, is they could just be 90 minutes, but they're, for whatever reason, hour and 50 minutes, 2 hours long or whatever. They just don't cut the fat.
Oh yeah, I love long movies, but a lot of the times there's unnecessary.
Oh yeah, but when it's
stuff left.
like if this movie was 2 hours long, that would be probably too long.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I'm just trying to. What else have I written here? Oh yeah, I just wrote also. It's interesting that he finds the relationship he ends up with is also another small woman.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Sorry, that's my.
He's kind of a gentle giant. To use that tired sort of phrase, but.
Well, that's the whole point of the teddy bear.
Exactly.
Thing. I think it's more of a character study than there are obviously certain themes in that, but it's very much a dive into this idea of this middle-aged bodybuilder, sort of character and his psyche and that. What else have I written? Oh yeah, more plates. Yeah, you already mentioned that. But basically, he's lifting, and then all the Asian guys are like, oh, more.
And they recognize him as well, because he's like, in the film, he's an internationally renowned bodybuilder. So
it's just like he's a few years past his prime.
Yeah, he's kind of on the way out a bit.
But yeah, at the end of the movie, basically he tells his mum that, he's getting married and she can go stuff herself, and it's sort of him overcoming this. I think this is the interesting thing of Only God Forgives is that's also very heavily about the son-mother relationship.
Yeah.
But in this movie,
it's a little more, I think it's a little more messed up in Only God Forgives.
Yeah. Well, in Teddy Bear, he overcomes it.
Yeah.
He becomes his own man. He overcomes it and gets his own woman. In Only God Forgives, he does not overcome it.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah, I like how they showed, like, Dennis, he has a lot of, control over himself. He never raises his voice any time in the movie. His mother destroys his bedroom and all his weightlifting memorabilia. I think he just sits down, looks upset.
Yeah.
He's well in control of his frame, to use that parlance.
Yeah, he's a really... That's one thing we were commenting on when we watched it, is like... we were trying to imagine what this actor... what the actor thought of the character. Like, because we couldn't imagine that the actor would be anything like this.
Yeah, because the real guy is probably a Chad. He's got to try and psych himself up to play a incel.
Yeah.
Although, you're not given too much context about his previous life. I think it's more likely that he's a burnt-out Chad, rather than, like, a lifelong incel.
Yeah, it's probably he'd had a fast life when he was really famous.
Yeah.
And then now he wants something else. It's that sort of a thing. But
yeah, that's my reading of it.
That's the most plausible, considering he is, very attractive,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Intelligent sort of guy. But I mean, that's pretty much all there is to say about that movie.
Yeah, it's not too deep.
Unless you
really.
can think of anything else.
Not really. I mean,
No, that's fine. That's fine. All right. Only God Forgives. Take it away. QAnon.
Yeah, Only God Forgives. Pure Kino. Nicholas Winding Refn. Yeah, his follow-up to Drive. Set in Bangkok, Thailand. It's very, very enjoyable. I like it. It's very stylized. I like the violence. I like the aesthetics of it a lot. Similar to Teddy Bear, in which you find an attractive protagonist, like a white Chad under the thumb of an overbearing mother. So you have Ryan Gosling as Julian, and the plot of this movie is kind of set off by the murder of his brother, and so his brother goes on a rampage. Not really a bit of a drunken rampage, and he ends up raping and killing a 16-year-old prostitute. At this point, he's cornered by the police, and Lieutenant Chang kind of lets the dad exact justice. So, and then this murder of his brother Billy sets off the plot for the film.
And I just want to mention before we get into it, Only God Forgives, 5.7 on IMDb, 42% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 37% on Metacritic.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It's
an excellent film.
I would say it's better than Drive.
Yeah, I think it's better than Drive.
Yeah, I would give Drive maybe an 8. I'd give this a 9 easy.
Yeah, I think it's a masterpiece, personally.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. I actually don't understand why the reception was so bad.
Yeah, I don't either, because you can make the argument it's less conventional, but it still has a lot. It has a lot of the hallmarks of Drive.
It's not that abstract.
Yeah, it has dream sequence and stuff, but you still have Ryan Gosling being a badass, killing people.
Yeah.
Like, looking really cool.
Yeah.
You have hot girls in it. Well, one hot girl. His prosty waifu.
Yeah.
Mai.
One
of the strong points of the film. And for the bleach right.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, and
it's criminally slept on.
Yeah, it's really underrated. It's a good movie. So there's not much really to spoil in terms of the plot, because it's just about the experience of watching it, and it's this really ambient sort of movie. And what I wanted to mention as well is is it in the opening or in the end credits or whatever? It says it's dedicated to Alejandro Jodorowsky.
Yeah.
And you definitely get some Jodorowsky vibes just in terms of the pace and the imagery and parts of it as well.
Yeah, it's nowhere near as experimental as something like The Holy Mountain, but you can definitely see the influence.
Yeah. Let's see, what's my next note? My next note is the cop is based.
Yeah, the cop is based. Yeah, Chang, he's a force of justice. Yeah. It's pretty common people tie him to God. Yeah, it's a good point. He's a little, probably, I don't know. Maybe it's more likely that he's like a pagan god or something, as a more accurate, because you got the Thai context.
Yeah.
But he definitely exacts a lot of justice.
Yeah, I think the acting. I can't remember the actor's name, but
Vithay something, yeah, something like that.
But he's awesome. He's so cool. Like he's sort of, you wouldn't necessarily call him the protagonist, but he's certainly like the closest to the quote unquote good guy in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 'cause you look at it from his perspective. He's like interrupting foreign drug dealers, like murderers, rapists in one case.
Yeah.
He also punishes a guy that put his underage daughter out to prostitute herself. I'm trying to think what else he does. He spares that guy with the disabled son who put a hit out on him as well.
Oh yeah, so he's merciful as well.
He's merciful too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's are we allowed to do spoilers on the show? Or?
Yeah.
Well, you could say from everything Ryan Gosling's done in the film, he deserved death by the end, but he just got his hands cut off. It's a bit of a kind of, because Chang must have worked out that Gosling, spared his daughter, as opposed to the orders of his mother, which was to
kill everyone.
Without context from the film, this might be
so we'll get into it a bit. So the opening is Chang killing that one guy, isn't it? Or is it... Or, like, cutting off the hands of that one guy, or am I imagining that? What's the opening? Or is it the boxing match?
Oh, it's at the Muay Thai club.
Yeah.
And then you've got Billy talking... You got Julian, and he's nodding to Billy and, like, the henchman guy who's sucking up to
I
his
just want to
mother.
mention as well, that's a massive theme is fighting.
Yeah.
In particular. Massive motif.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like, the film centers around a Muay Thai club.
Mm.
And Chang himself is revealed to be a very experienced fighter. I don't know how accurate the choreography of the fights are, but, or the main fight. But,
yeah, it's not really that relevant.
It's it's like movie fighting. But...
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's not that bad, or it's not.
No,
like,
I think it's really good. I just
Yeah.
don't think it's faithful to Muay Thai, obviously.
No.
But that's not even a valid complaint. It's really well done.
Yeah.
The fight scene is probably my favorite scene, in fact.
I would say as well, it's plausible that Ryan Gosling hasn't been practicing his Muay Thai either. So
yeah.
that's like why his character. What's his character's name? Again?
Julian. I believe.
Julian. Yeah. That's right. What do you think the fighting's about? I guess that's just sort of like a symbol of masculine, because it's the whole point of the movie, or the main symbol is hands being like a symbol of masculinity, and then therefore fighting is, I guess, the most. It's sort of like the most masculine thing you can do with your hands, I guess, or it's all something like that. Yeah,
no, it kind of puts the hands motif into practice, I think, because you're seeing a concrete example of violence being influenced on the world through your hands, and also kicks too for the Muay Thai. Yeah, because Ryan Gosling, he is revealed to have murdered his father with his bare hands.
Yes. Yes, and then it's implied that his mother molested him, basically. Yeah, molested him and his brother as well. She compares their penis sizes at one point. Yeah, that's a messed up scene. And she confesses to Chang. She talks about how Julian had, she's, in her words, paranoid delusions about her and Billy. Oh, so there's definitely some sort of... incestuous... She at least fucked Billy, I think, is what I would say. Yeah. Basically confirmed. And that explains why he's so messed up sexually as well. And because he has various sexual neuroses. He likes that he has his courtesan tie his hands to a chair, and then he watches her by herself. So it's kind of strange behavior. And so the movie basically, we open with watching a competition, or it's a competition at this Muay Thai club. Yeah. And then it's Billy basically is drunk, and he goes and harasses all these prostitutes, but then he ends up with his 16-year-old girl, and then it's not shown, but then it's sort of it's, I don't know if implied is the word, but it's very, what would you call it? What's the word? I'm using the word
for what?
Basically, it's he kills the prostitute. Raped and killed her. And it's just. It's clear he's a very disturbed individual, and that's a really messed up. Because then it sets up, like we said. Then Chang comes and lets the father of the prostitute kill Billy, and then Chang cuts off the hands of the father. Just one hand, as punishment. And I feel like if I was the king, that's a pretty fair ruling. Yeah, I think so. I mean... Yeah, so... It sounds about right to me. Because... Yeah, that is fair. I mean, and I think I don't know if it's just that's Chang's sense of justice, or if he knew that because Billy was a rich white guy, he could get off if it went to court or something like that, or... That's not even factored into it. Is it just supposed to be dream logic in terms of the... I don't know exactly. I find Billy's motivations kind of strange, because he's very in control of himself and very placid throughout this thing, despite his violence. He speaks very deliberately, he's moving focusedly. And he announces to his brother, Julian, in the club, time to go meet the devil, or time to meet the devil. So, we have a reference there to the devil. Yeah. Yeah, it could have been something like that, because he got himself cornered by the police. Or maybe not suicide necessarily, but it's recklessness to the point of not caring about whether or not you live. Yeah, for a respected figure in the drug trade in Bangkok, Thailand, where drug trafficking is punishable by death, and he's a foreigner who doesn't speak the language. Yeah. As a rational viewer, you would assume he's fairly cautious. So it's kind of a ridiculously reckless thing to go and do, and I think it's very crucial to note that he mentions he's going to go meet the devil before he does this, because obviously you have so many tie-ins to God with Chang. That's true. And then basically after that, Julian and Billy's mother flies into Bangkok, and she's expecting that Julian has already killed everyone involved with the death of his brother.
Yeah.
Which he hasn't done, because basically he says, oh, well, he killed a prostitute, so it's sort of, reasonable that he got killed. And then the mother says, in response to hearing that he raped and murdered a 16-year-old girl, I'm sure he had his reasons.
Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous, yeah.
And, that really shows you what the mother... I mean, that's, the mother is a psychopath.
Yeah.
Horrible woman.
And she's initially, extremely angry at Ryan Gosling for letting the guy go. But then she kind of chalks it up to he's grieving and he's disoriented.
Yeah.
And he can't handle it at the moment. But it's definitely not that. He's not shown grieving for his brother at all. I think it's very curious. They make a very big deal. They show his face when he's being told the news by... I don't know this dude's name. He's the redhead guy or whatever.
Yeah, the other guy.
The helper guy who's, trying to usurp his role. They kind of get into that in the film. He's kind of... Like, his mother's moving some, like, coke without Julian.
Yeah.
And that guy's running point on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that dude informs him his brother's dead, and his face is totally emotionless.
I think it's more he realizes... I now have to deal with this in some way. I'm going to be expected to do something about this, and that's what he's more maybe frustrated about. And then he does... Oh, because he doesn't necessarily... Because he probably didn't even like his brother, obviously.
Yeah, no, that's very strongly implied, if not confirmed.
And then I think the next significant thing is we get the dinner scene.
Yeah, that's right. The mother takes Ryan Gosling and his escort, his pseudo-girlfriend, out for dinner.
Do you want to explain that pseudo-girlfriend concept?
Oh, well...
For listeners that aren't familiar with how things work in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, just to my knowledge, the way it works is you can get the girlfriend...
From what you've read.
Yeah. You get the girlfriend experience, it's sort of a blurry line... Because you can have a Thai girlfriend who just wants money from you all the time, and it's not exactly clear where the line is demarcated. But in this case, I think she is quite upper class. It's probably in this case, it's mostly because he's paying her, I would say.
Yeah, she's like a high class escort, top.
She's got very white skin as well, so it's so in Thailand that's like the top tier of society, Bangkok, probably some Chinese admixture in ancestry. As opposed to, the people in Isan with darker skin. They might have some Khmer or Burmese ancestry. Or their skin's darkened from agriculture, so they're looked down on. It's just... Yeah. So she's definitely upper class.
Yeah, and so basically, he buys a dress for his quasi-girlfriend. A nice dress, and takes her to dinner with the mother, and then the mother... It's just so
she's very belligerent, right off the bat.
What does she first say to the prostitute?
She asks her what line of work she's in, and to which Mai responds, she's an entertainer. And then the mother retorts, oh, how many cocks can you entertain with that cute little cum dumpster? Or something to that effect. Pardon my language, this is a family show.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
We're just recording.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And the more disturbing revelation at this point is she's then also says about Julian, oh, he's always been jealous because Billy's genitals were larger than his.
Yeah.
And that's really messed up.
Yeah.
She just, it's clear, there's bizarre sexual things going on, and the relationship is just really messed up. And then, basically the dinner does not go well.
Yeah, and they have a running motif throughout the film. At least there's a couple examples where he kind of slavishly, lights her cigarette for her. Without any sort of prompting from the mother verbally. He just kind of does it.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I
very obedient.
And then we have the one moment where Ryan Gosling actually loses his cool, which is right after the dinner. His quasi-girlfriend is clearly, extremely uncomfortable after having been through this, really cooked dinner.
Yeah, she tells him off. She says something like, well, I don't know why you let her treat you like that, or something.
Yeah. And then I can't remember what exactly he says. It's like, do you like the dress or?
Yeah, he says she can keep the dress, and then she says she doesn't want it, and then he
Yeah.
says, well, if you don't want it, take it off.
Yeah.
And then
He
his
yells.
temper's growing.
Take it off!
Yeah, he screams at her to take it off, and she does.
Yeah.
Um,
But it's like very beta.
yeah, it's he loses frame. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
if you wanna
yeah.
use that sort of term.
Yeah.
He fails a shit test. I don't know.
Yeah. It's yeah, pretty it's I kind of laughed the first time I saw it, just like it's so out of the blue.
It's very aesthetic too. It's like
Yeah.
this nice hallway.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the
he's
thing.
wearing
Like,
this like sick drip suit. Like,
Yeah.
she's wearing like this lit dress. Like
Yeah.
it's excellent. It's a good shot.
yeah, and it's like that's I think we can just talk about the cinematography for a bit now.
Mhm.
Every shot is like ridiculously so good, so well framed, and it's everything's like artistically framed. Like there's nothing utilitarian about it at all, I would say. Really.
No, nothing like that. It's a lot of ambient lighting, that kind of thing.
There's a lot of like, what do you call it? Mid-distance shots or whatever you want to call it. Not like there's some close-ups in that, but it's a lot of the time it's just like you're watching a scene from a play or something almost.
Yep.
And then the lighting, there's just a lot of red.
Yeah,
Basically.
whole lot of red. One could say.
I was just looking up. I was kind of interested. So Only God Forgives comes out 2013. Hangover 2 is 2011. Kind of interesting. 2011.
Yeah.
That whole Bangkok. It kind of reminded me a little, like the seediness of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
It's one of those movies where the city plays a role, you know.
Mm.
Like there are some nice shots of the Bangkok skyline from his mother's apartment. Yeah.
What did we get up to? And then so we have the dinner, and then pretty much after that it's there's assassins go after the cop Chang.
Yeah, that's right.
That's like the one big action scene. I
Yeah,
guess,
they put out. She talks to some sort of rival drug dealer, and he's initially hesitant to put out the hit because his words, he can't go around killing cops anymore.
Yeah.
So, but she's able to persuade him with 5 kilos of cocaine that he can traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he puts the hit out, and it's a failure. The guy catches Chang at the restaurant with his bros, like his
cop bros.
his cop bros, yeah, who are they're very cool. Like the main guy of his backup team. It's like he doesn't kill anybody on screen. He doesn't do anything violent on screen, but he's for me, he stole a lot of the scenes he was in because he has this little smirk on his face where he knows the person's gonna meet Chang next. Like when he's talking to Julian's mother or
yeah. Oh yeah, that
or
scene.
Tim Roth Light, that drug dealer guy, like discount, like dime
discount,
store Tim Roth.
Discount Tim Roth. I think Tim Roth is discount Tim Roth.
Nah,
just about.
Yeah, but he catches that guy that.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah, when he comes into the club and that guy's in the club.
Yeah.
That's a good scene. So there's this one scene. That's a brilliant scene where Chang it's like this one guy has bought out this club because he's rich or whatever. Or like, does everyone else leave or something? I can't remember.
Nah, not everyone else leaves. I don't know actually. Like, it's just the girls and
yeah.
him,
So basically, this guy's in this like burlesque club type thing.
Yeah.
And Chang comes in and he knows he's going to torture this guy for information in the middle of the club. So he just says to all the girls, like, close your eyes.
Yeah.
And they just all close their eyes. They all close their eyes, and then he just like starts torturing this guy with like chopsticks.
Yeah, he takes those sticks out of the girl's hair, like the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He's initially very defiant. That dude that they catch. It's like he's pretty.
Thinks he's a tough guy.
Yeah.
You can't do this to me, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But and basically, at this point, Julian confronts Chang, and then they have their fight. Just about, isn't that? That's about when it happens.
Oh yeah, that's sort of after that. Yeah.
And he says the famous line, "Want to fight?"
Yeah.
Coolest line, but then he just gets demolished in the fight.
Yeah.
It's like no competition.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's a good fight. Like, I really like the lead up to it as well. Like, Chang's number one henchman guy kind of stops Julian before the fight. It's like, you know who he is? And then Julian responds, yeah. Like, it could be a little more to that.
Well, I think it's. Yeah, I mean, like, narratively, I think Julian is probably aware that he's gonna lose.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He just wants to.
He wants to get blood. He wants to get bloodied because then he can say to his mother, maybe like, "Oh, I tried" or something. I don't know, or it's just for his own masochistic tendencies.
I don't know what motivated him to do that. I suspect he just wanted to be beaten down on some level.
Yeah.
Or he just wanted to see what would happen as well, because he's been having, like, before he even met Chang, he had a vision of Chang. He was in like, I don't know what you call it, like the club or whatever, or some sort of private room with his his prosty. Yeah. There's that one interesting thing. Like where Julian kind of, he doesn't lose his cool, but he's in there with Mai, and then these two guys come in, and he's like extremely disturbed that they come in when he's in the middle of his like weird sex practices.
Yes.
So he just absolutely chimps and like smashes a glass in the guy's face.
Yeah, that's the one time he like loses. Well, I guess not the one time, but it's another time he loses his cool.
Yeah, but it's very clear like he's engaging in some pretty idiosyncratic things, like, almost like ritualistic, maybe you could say, because he keeps coming back to that girl, and he doesn't want those other guys in there.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
And there's pretty obvious, what would you call it? Like analogies between hands and male genitalia. Like with the scene where he sort of is reaching in under her dress.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's like the whole, plays into the whole hands of masculine value sort of thing. That's why you have, I guess, it as well, like, oh, his thing was always bigger than yours.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, and then I think at that point, Chang pretty much works out who's behind everything, and then he just goes and kills the mother, which is a very cathartic scene, I must say.
Yeah.
She, like, what is she saying at that point? She's like, oh, we can pay you, or... She tries to bribe him.
I don't know if she tries... I can't remember if she tries to bribe him. She tries to put the blame on Julian. I think that's kind of ridiculous, because she... Right after the fight, like, he goes a few rounds with Chang, doesn't land one punch.
Yeah.
He's left demolished. Chang makes eye contact with his mother, like, in the club.
Yeah.
So then the mother, kind of...
He's smart enough to work everything out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The mother kind of passionately implores him, like, I need you to take care of this. He's coming for me now.
Yeah, yeah.
She brings up the fact that, she says, after your father, I would never ask you for this again.
Yes.
So he's kind of repeating history a bit. He's being asked to kill some sort of guy. You could say maybe Chang is similar to his father. Figure. Yeah, because if he's a stand-in for God or a god or whatever, he's a stand-in for some sort of
figure of justice.
Yeah. So he's kind of being thrown into that again.
And that's
and
again
he complies with his mother's request.
Yeah.
He takes one of the dudes, one of the Thai guys, the hitters, whatever, shooters. Yeah, they're posted up in Chang's place. This is happening, I think, simultaneously while Chang is at the hotel.
Yeah,
talking to his mother.
Yeah.
He's very disturbed by the fact that his mother ordered the daughter killed.
Chang's daughter.
Yeah. He has a very noticeable reaction to that when his accomplice mentions that.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing I like about this movie as well is it's slow just in terms of like basically everything's kind of in slow motion, but in terms of the scenes, there's no fluff scenes.
Oh yeah, every scene is serving some sort of point,
it's like, okay, here's a sequence with Chang, here's a sequence with Julian, here's a sequence with Chang, and it's just the bare essentials.
Yeah.
Like you just get one bit of Chang with his daughter, and then that gives you everything you need to know. You don't have like Chang sitting at the table watching TV.
Yeah, you don't have like him, I don't know, doing something relatable or whatever. You see his daughter. You see him speaking on nice terms with the nanny, who's pretty cute as well.
Yeah. And then pretty much he kills the mother. Chang kills the mother, and then Chang cuts off the hands of Julian because he sort of works out that Julian was sort of not necessarily, I don't know, manipulated, but he was coerced into getting involved in this sort of scenario, like situation a bit more, so he doesn't decide to show his mercy on him.
It's hard to say because the very end is almost like a dream sequence. Like you get shots of them going. So he's in that club with Mai again, and then Chang walks in, and then you kind of get the jump shots to them in a forest together. Yeah. And Gosling has his hands out. He's just calmly letting them get cut off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so it's basically what happened was when they were at Chang's house, Julian killed the guy he came with.
The other
before he
assassin.
Could kill Chang's daughter.
Yeah.
So it's possible Chang pieced together part of that story.
Yeah. I think is there anything else?
Well, what do you think about the karaoke?
Oh, that was the one thing I wanted to mention. That's the most enigmatic part of the whole thing. Is there 2 or 3 scenes of it?
Okay, there's one at the beginning, and then there's
there's 3. I think there's 3.
There's one where you don't even hear the audio of what he's singing. There's just some disturbing soundtrack thing flourishing.
So there's 3 scenes in the movie where we see this cop Chang is just singing karaoke in front of all these other cop, like with his other cop buddies.
Yeah.
And it's just really interesting that we are seeing this extremely methodical, I don't know if you'd say violent, but very tough but fair sort of like justice dealer guy doing these scenes of karaoke, and it's probably, I still haven't really worked out what it's necessarily about.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's I don't know. Maybe he's supposed to be like creative and whatever, as well as violent.
Yeah,
dishing out justice.
I think it's like the fact that he is the best fighter, and the fact that he's dealing out justice. It shows like he's got the complete version of masculinity.
Yeah.
So I think, and that's if you interpret it in that sense, showing him doing karaoke, that's like showing the creative and more playful side of what we would consider a properly masculine man. But they're really cool scenes as well. Like this whole movie, it's even if you have now listened to the whole plot and it's been spoilt for you, it's the sort of thing that it's still very much worth watching. Just for the visuals are amazing. Chang's acting's really good. Gosling's acting's really, like, all the acting's really good. And there's just lots.
The mother's really good too. Like what's her name? Kirsten Scott Thomas or Kristen? It's something like that.
Yeah. I'm wondering if I've seen.
I don't know what else she's in. I just read the name.
I'm gonna look that up right now because I'm curious if I swear I saw her in something. Like after the fact of watching this. Oh, is she Australian? Oh, she's English.
Oh, she's got short hair in one of these pics. Interesting.
Damn, she looks so... Oh, she was in The English Patient.
Yeah, I never saw that.
Neither, but they meme about it in Seinfeld, if you remember. I swear she was in, like, an Australian movie. Wow, so she's normally in, like, weird, like, just boring romance movies. It seems. Sarah's Key. I'm just looking at these movies now. Yeah, I swear I have seen her in something. Either way, she's amazing. Her and Chang are probably the best performances. Gosling just does his thing, pretty much. I'd say Drive is better. If you want Gosling, Drive is probably better.
Yeah, probably, because you get a lot more, dialogue out of Gosling.
Yeah.
Still not too much. But...
Wait, how many lines is it he has in this movie?
I don't know, I think I read 17
it's less than 20,
somewhere.
Yeah. There's, like, no dialogue as well in this movie, which I like, because I hate dialogue in movies most of the time, unless it's a goofy movie you don't take seriously, because it's just always spoils... It makes everything too on the nose. Yeah, that's what I like about this movie, is it's not... There's never a scene or, like... Well, there's never in a more basic movie, you would have a scene where he's talking to some, like, his mother or something, and they would say something like, hands are kind of like blah blah blah. You'd have this speech sort of scene, and then and you'd have the Chang would do like drugs or something like that. He wouldn't be this like perfect figure of whatever. He'd be, you know, it's a bit rough around the edges a bit more or something like that. And I think, you know, because this story could work as like a basic thriller. You know, if it was just shot more, done more basically, and you changed a few elements, it would be a good just like basic thriller. But because of the direction and the cinematography, it's really elevated.
Oh yeah, like it could take place, you know, anywhere. Like it could be like a Michael Mann LA movie or something. You know? Like, do you think there's anything significant about the location being chosen as Thailand? Because for Teddy Bear, you know, it's pretty obvious why it's got to be Thailand. Because he can, you know, find all the young females willing to.
Yeah, I think part of it is narratively. If you were to set it in LA, having a cop running around and doing like extrajudicial like
that's not believable
murders,
at all. No.
It makes it
maybe
it's not completely. It would require more suspension of disbelief than in Thailand. I'm not saying that even is necessarily true of Thailand. Like I don't know what the situation is there, but to a Western viewer, our idea of Southeast Asia is that it's more like the Wild West sort of thing. So that's more believable. But I'm sure there's probably something in Thai mythology that maybe is relevant, but I haven't researched it.
Well, there's this face they show a lot. Like I'm not sure what it's supposed to be. Like they have it in the background when he's doing the fight with Chang as well.
So we'd have to look into it a bit, and I think like knowing more about the history of Muay Thai as well would probably basically we're saying I don't know, if you want to fully understand it, be more informed than we are, having just watched it twice or whatever. So yeah, because we watched it like a week ago now.
Yeah, about a week ago.
When the second time I watched it on like 1.25 speed.
Oh, really?
Just because I don't know why, because I had stuff on, so I just wanted to like get it in to make sure I had all my notes written down for when we were going to discuss it. But it's all right. Let me have a look at my notes.
One minor point, I think like the hitmen contracted throughout the film. I think there are 3 different ones.
Yeah.
And they all have ridiculous drip. They're all wearing crazy costumes.
I'll pull up some pictures of it here.
Like the main guy, not the main guy, the first one, he kills the father of that prostitute that Billy killed.
Oh yeah.
He's wearing like this cool Slav style tracksuit. And then you've got the guy who he's leading the botched hit on Chang. He's you know, smoking some cig. He's got some cool sunglasses. Like I think they did a really good job with those, even characters who are only in it for a scene. You know, like, they look pretty cool. And when they're waiting for Chang's daughter in Chang's place, they got the dude, he puts on the skull mask.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it looks like
it's ominous.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Gosling the entire time is wearing like a suit or like a vest, just about.
Yeah. Well, he starts off. I think he's wearing like just a standard Chad like black t-shirt, tight like black jeans at the beginning. Yeah, you see him in that suit a lot. I think he's coming from the dinner when he runs into Chang.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. One thing I thought it was a little bit strange. The mother didn't have any sort of protection at the hotel when Chang showed up.
That's a good point. That's actually quite a good point.
Because she had made plans to get out of Thailand very quickly. Like the balance of power shifted very fast. Like she thought she had a hit on Chang that was going to work, and then she's got her flight out the following night.
Yeah.
He somehow catches her at the hotel.
I mean,
you'd think this like underworld matriarch would have a more sophisticated way to protect herself.
That's true. That's probably the one sort of plot inconsistent. I mean, you could maybe argue that she wanted to be more incognito, but even then, why not have them in the room with her or something? You know. So it is a bit silly, but even then,
because I'd have thought like when she saw that the tide was turning and she's
should have gotten out of there.
Yeah, she would have protected herself more.
Because she wasn't above fleeing and like she didn't seem like she would have been above.
Oh no! She had her flight out like when Chang caught her.
But to be fair, it's like literally the next day after the failed hit that he like finds her. Like it would have been in the morning.
Yeah, it happens in a short time frame.
Yeah, so I guess it's more plausible. Yeah, yeah, it's literally like 72 hours, or it's like a. Well, it's not really clear the first act.
Yeah, that's not clear. That could be.
Could be like a week, but then like once the mother gets there, it's literally 72 hours, just about. which is interesting.
Mm. Yeah, he has the fight with Chang. Chang sees the mother, and then the very next day, like probably the morning, he's killing the mother. You know.
Alright, I'm now looking at her IMDb. Because I don't think I know her for any of the movies that she's actually famous for. I probably just know her face, just generally. I feel like I know her from some sort of horror movie or something.
I don't think I've seen any of these.
Oh,
I've seen Keeping Mum.
Is that good?
Not really.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, no, I don't know her from that. The Horse Whisperer. Mission Impossible. Oh, I probably know her from Mission Impossible then.
Okay.
Sarah
I cannot
Davies.
remember her in that, but it has been a while since I've watched Mission Impossible.
My what do you call it? Just my subconscious must have recognized her. Just having a look. Damn, she's been in a lot of stuff. Yeah, I don't really know her. Okay. I don't know where I know her from. She just has one of those faces, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. She's normally a brunette. The mother as well. She's very attractive.
Yeah.
You would say she's got a very masculine look about her, though. The way in some ways, I don't know.
Yeah, she's kind of they kind of make her character simultaneously attractive and off-putting, I think.
Yeah, and like she has the fake blonde hair and whatnot.
Yeah. It's got like the middle class woman designer drip kind of thing.
But she's incredibly imposing, particularly on Julian, which is disturbing. It would have been interesting to have seen what she would have been like around Billy. I'm assuming she would have been much nicer.
Another thing I think is interesting is Julian is such a blank slate in some ways. Like it would be interesting to see more emotion out of him, because I noticed when the mother was talking to Chang, she mentioned that he was like in the past he was out of control and he was like delusional and things like that. It would be interesting to see a more animated side to him.
He probably did drugs and stuff, presumably earlier on, and maybe he's cleaned up his act a bit or something.
I would also wonder why they have that operation in Thailand, because she talks about the family leaving America, so just curious how they got set up there.
Well, it's plausible that the father had some sort of connection from whatever.
Oh yeah, the father must have been a powerful underworld figure. Yeah, because from the mother's involved in the business, and the only way that's happening is if the father's involved as well.
Yeah.
And obviously she commissions Gosling to kill his dad, so he must have been posing a threat to her, or I don't know, maybe she just wanted him out of the way.
Or maybe he was abusive, or who knows what. Well, actually, I don't know. Who knows what he would have been like? That's interesting as well.
It's unfortunate there were no subtitles for the songs that Chang was singing.
Yeah.
I would be kind of curious to see what he was singing.
We'll have to Shazam them.
Yeah.
Find out what the lyrics are. I'm sure they're. I wonder if Nicholas Winding Refn can speak Thai.
Yeah, I wonder. I'm genuinely curious about that.
He can speak French.
The opening credits are Thai, and I think the closing credits too.
There must be some. I mean, obviously, there's got to be some significance, because it's like, well, he was a big enough director at that point that he could have done the movie anywhere he wanted. So he must have picked Thailand for a reason. Another
interesting thing, when Gosling finds his mother, him putting his hand and like making the cut in her stomach and putting his hand in. That was Ryan Gosling's idea.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't in the script.
Did not know that. I have not looked into the trivia of this movie.
It's pretty.
Have you looked
I haven't
at it
really.
on IMDb?
I just heard that one thing. I think I saw it in a YouTube comment.
Okay. Let's go. Only God Forgives. This is how good this content is. I'm just gonna go onto IMDb and look at the trivia on there. Where is it? Stupid IMDb. Damn, how long have we talked about this movie for? So we talked about Teddy Bear for like 15 minutes, talked about this for about 40.
It's not that much for Teddy Bear, but
yeah,
it's a little more limited in what you can say.
Yeah. Oh, damn. don't know. Oh, trivia. Here we go. Chang's outfit in this movie is what retired cops in Thailand wear.
Interesting.
So I wonder if that implies he was retired.
That's pretty cool.
In his commentary, reference states that Bangkok is a radically different city depending on the time of day. In daytime, it's like Disneyland. By night, it's far more sinister. I mean, that's kind of true of most cities, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Ryan Gosling only speaks 17 lines. Nicholas Winding Refn directed Chang via Pansun Gam or something, how do you say it, by whispering into his ear, "You are God." I think we worked out that symbolism then.
Yeah, it's a little... It's pretty funny. That's like the next level for, alpha male aphorisms. God aphorisms.
Yeah, a bit blasphemous.
Affirmations. Sorry, misspoke.
Yeah, I don't find this movie pretentious, really, because there's not like all this overbearing symbolism and nonsensical. Like elements are there of a basic thriller plot. It's just presented in a high
I
way.
wouldn't call it pretentious or anything. Yeah. I think this could just be skewed judgment, but I think it would be pretty palatable to a mainstream audience. Yeah, it wasn't a major success, but it wasn't a box office bomb either.
Yeah, I do.
I think it made about 10 million.
I really wonder why it got so shit on in the reviews. It's bizarre.
I don't know, critics, they're often plebeians.
Yeah. Well, I mean...
True Detective Season 2, a classic example. Critics being retarded.
Ryan Gosling underwent rigorous Muay Thai training for 2 hours a day, 4 days a week.
Nice, yeah.
Wow. And a traditional Thai diet to train for this role.
It's good prep.
It'd get him in the right mindset for the character, certainly.
I thought it would have been a nice touch if they had shown Julian or Billy speaking Thai, but they're relying on translators the whole time. I think it would have been cooler if it showed them speaking it a little, at least some phrases. Yeah,
I reckon we could have done with maybe... I mean, I think it was good that there was like basically no scenes between Julian and Billy.
Yeah,
I think that it was effective. But yeah, it would have been cool having just one scene of Julian actually doing something cool, because basically it's either him simping or like being like scared of his mum or getting beaten up by the Chang.
Yeah. Oh, well, he does kill 2 people. I believe, on screen. He kills the security guard outside Chang. Yeah. And he shoots that dude who was going to kill Chang's kid.
True. But yeah, it would have been cool if he had a spoken Thai, yeah.
Oh, I thought, if you're talking about for badass moments of Gosling, when he's interrogating the dad of the girl that was killed.
Oh,
he's very just like silent and imposing. He's cocking the revolver while talking to the guy.
Yeah. Julian's mother was modelled after Lady Macbeth.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's pretty reasonable. The actress says she finds this movie very disturbing and hard to watch.
Well, she probably hasn't watched it without at least a few glasses of wine. I don't know.
I'm just trying to... I should have read this beforehand.
Yeah, it might have been a good idea.
Maybe I should do that next time. About 20% of this movie was shot with a camera owned by Ryan Gosling. That's funny. Wait, what? Luke Evans was originally cast in the lead role.
Who's Luke Evans?
Is that like Chris Evans' brother?
I don't know.
What?
Luke Evans.
What?
Oh, he's pretty jacked.
He's jacked, but that'd be a very different movie. Because the Ryan Gosling's like blonde, and it's like a very different vibe. He looks like Mexican.
I guess Ruffin just wanted a Chad.
Yeah. It's interesting. Well, I think that's just about everything we have to say about that. All you can think of is...
No, I think covered a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, we've just hit an hour, which is perfect length, I would have to say. You don't have anything you want to plug, I guess.
No, I don't have anything
you're
to plug,
queuing on. Just was it Trust the Plan?
Yeah, just trust the plan, man.
Yeah, the arrests are coming soon.
We'll rescue all the mole children. Biden, body double. Trump's ruling it from underground.
Yeah.
Space Force is gonna get in there.
Yep. Very true. Yeah, I think that's everything we have to say about it.
Yep.
It's a good movie. Both of them are pretty good movies. Teddy Bear, you could probably watch with your family, I would say. It's a family enough movie.
Yeah, it's pretty wholesome, honestly.
Yeah, so I'd recommend that. And then Only God Forgives when you're in the mood for something more artsy-fartsy, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's another good one. They're both good movies. I'd recommend them both highly.
Yeah, Only God Forgives. It's good with a few drinks, I think.
You vibe with it a bit more, because it is a bit slow-paced. You can appreciate the slow burning of each scene a lot more, possibly.
It's just, like you said, it's similar to Lost in Translation. You just really enjoy the nice lighting and like, the cool cityscape and stuff. The violence. Well, there's no violence in Lost in Translation. But yeah. Well, just like the aesthetic people and aesthetic places.
Yeah. It's a good movie. All right, well, thank you very much for joining me, QAnon. And
yeah, it was my pleasure.
I'm sure we'll have you back on at some point. Thank you much.
Sounds good.
Thank you, everyone, for listening.